2:17 a.m. The Red Sea, 90 miles northwest of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. A US Navy-guided missile destroyer, the USS Gravely, is running dark and fast. No lights, no radio chatter, just the sound of 100,000 horsepower cutting through black water. Then, the radar lights up like a Christmas tree. 17 fast-moving contacts. Low altitude. Inbound. The Houthis just launched their most sophisticated coordinated drone missile swarm attack in history, and it's aimed directly at this single ship. But here's what the Houthis didn't know. The US Navy was waiting for exactly this moment, and what they were about to do would change naval warfare forever. Stay with me, because in the next 13 minutes I'm going to break down exactly how the US Navy executed one of the most technically brilliant offensive operations in modern history, and why the Houthis have absolutely no answer for it. To understand why this engagement was so dangerous, you first need to understand what the Houthis have built. Backed by Iranian weapons transfers and years of reverse engineering, the Houthi arsenal in 2025 is not the ragtag militia force most people picture. They operate a multi-layer strike package that includes: first, the Shahd 136 kamikaze drone, designed to be cheap, slow, and invisible to radar until it's 3 kilometers from your ship. Iran builds these for roughly $20,000 each. The Houthis received hundreds. Second, the Quds-1 cruise missile, a terrain-hugging, sea-skimming weapon that flies at 50 meters altitude to avoid radar detection. It's essentially a flying bomb the size of a small car. And third, their newest asset, a coordinated swarm protocol. Instead of launching one missile, they launched 10, 15, 20 simultaneously from different vectors. The goal isn't accuracy. The goal is saturation. Overwhelm your defense system. Force it to run out of interceptor missiles. Then the last one gets through. It's a terrifyingly simple concept, and it nearly worked, until the USS Gravely deployed something the Houthis had never encountered. The moment those 17 contacts appeared on the radar, USS Gravely's AN/SPY-6 radar, the most advanced shipborne radar system on Earth, had already calculated every trajectory, speed, and likely impact point. The Aegis combat system processes over 100 targets simultaneously. It doesn't panic. It prioritizes. It ranks threats by time to impact and assigns each one an intercept solution in milliseconds. But the real game changer this night was the SOEP Block 3, the ship's electronic warfare improvement program. This is not a missile. It doesn't shoot anything. What it does is far more terrifying for the enemy. SOEP Block 3 jams, spoofs, and hijacks the guidance systems of incoming threats. In plain terms, it reaches out electronically, grabs the Shah drones mid-flight, and redirects them. Some drones veered into the ocean. Some turned 180 degrees and flew back toward their own launch positions. The Houthis launched 17 weapons. 6 were electronically neutralized before a single missile was fired. The radar screens at their command center showed their own drones malfunctioning. They had no idea what was happening. But 11 threats were still inbound. And now it was time for the kinetic response. With 11 threats still closing at over 500 miles per hour, the Gravely's weapons officer initiated the kinetic intercept sequence. The RIM-66 Standard Missile SM-2 launched first. These are $2.2 million interceptors, each one built to guide itself onto a target using semi-active radar homing. The SM-2 doesn't guess. It locks on and follows. 7 Houthi drones and missiles were destroyed at range. The explosions lit up the night sky visible for miles. 4 threats remained, now inside 5 kilometers. Too close for SM-2s. This is where the Phalanx CIWS, the close-in weapon system, takes over. It's a 20mm rotary cannon that fires 4,500 rounds per minute. It doesn't need a human to aim it. It's fully autonomous. It sees a threat, it fires, it adjusts, it fires again. The final 4 drones were shredded at 1,500 meters. Not one reached the ship. Total engagement time, 4 minutes and 22 seconds. 17 Houthi weapons launched. 0 hits. Destroying the drones was only half the mission. The AN/SPY-6 radar had been tracking the origin points of every single launch. The Houthi command had been precise, too precise. They launched from 3 coordinated sites on the Yemeni coast, believing they'd be long gone before any counterstrike arrived. They were wrong. 120 miles away, 2 F/A-18E Super Hornets from USS Harry S. Truman had been airborne for 40 minutes, loitering in the dark, waiting for exactly these coordinates. The strike package, GBU-38 Joint Direct Attack Munitions, GPS-guided bombs with a circular error probability of under 3 meters. At 2:31 a.m., 14 minutes after the Houthi swarm launched, both launch sites and the mobile command trailer coordinating the attack were hit simultaneously. The Houthis lost their primary drone swarm controller, 3 mobile launcher vehicles, and a radar system they had been concealing for over 6 months, all in one strike. That infrastructure cannot be replaced in days or even weeks, and every commander watching this operation from Tehran, Beijing, and Moscow took note. Here's what this operation actually proved. The Houthi strategy was designed around a very specific assumption, that American ships would eventually run out of expensive interceptor missiles. At $2 million per SM-2 versus $20,000 per Shah drone, the math seemed to favor the Houthis. Fire enough, and eventually one gets through. But the SOAP electronic warfare system destroyed that math entirely. By neutralizing 35% of the swarm with 0 physical missiles fired, the US Navy fundamentally changed the cost equation. And the immediate counterstrike eliminated the infrastructure before it could be reloaded. The Houthis have no answer for this combination. Not today. And based on what we know about their supply chain disruptions from recent months, probably not for a long time. The Red Sea may not be fully safe yet, but after tonight, the people who thought they controlled it just found out they were wrong. If you want to know what weapon the US Navy is now deploying that makes the SOAP system look primitive, that video is already on the channel.
So deadly that entire fleets could disappear before realizing it was even there. A machine built to hunt aircraft carriers, to stock nuclear submarines, to operate for months, completely invisible beneath the ocean. And if war ever breaks out between the world's superpowers, this weapon could decide the future of humanity in a matter of hours. This is the terrifying story of the deadliest submarine ever created, and why military experts believe it could completely change naval warfare forever. The ocean is deceptive. From above, it looks calm, peaceful, empty. But thousands of feet below the surface, a silent war is constantly unfolding. A war of sonar, stealth, nuclear power, and machines capable of destroying entire nations. Modern submarines are no longer just military vehicles. They are underwater predators, invisible assassins, floating nuclear fortresses, and among them all, one class of submarine stands above the rest. Feared by NATO, respected by military analysts, and designed with one mission: dominate the ocean. For decades, global powers competed to build the ultimate submarine. America pushed stealth technology to insane levels. Russia focused on speed and raw firepower. China rapidly expanded its underwater fleet. But modern warfare changed everything. The old submarines were loud, easy to track, limited by fuel. Then came a revolution: nuclear-powered submarines. Unlike traditional diesel submarines, these monsters could stay underwater for months. No refueling, no surfacing, no mercy. And once military engineers combined nuclear propulsion with advanced stealth systems, the oceans became a nightmare battlefield. Entire fleets could now be hunted silently from beneath, without warning, without escape. The scariest thing about modern submarines isn't their missiles, it's their invisibility. Today's advanced submarines are quieter than ocean currents. Some are covered with special sound-absorbing tiles. Others use pump jet propulsion systems designed to reduce underwater noise. Even their engines are mounted on shock absorbers to stop vibrations from revealing their position. Think about that for a second. A machine longer than a football field, carrying enough firepower to destroy cities, can disappear completely inside the ocean. And once it disappears, finding it becomes almost impossible. That's why submarines are often called the apex predators of modern warfare. Because by the time you detect one, it's usually too late. But living inside one of these underwater giants is brutal. Imagine spending months trapped inside a steel tube. No sunlight, no fresh air, no privacy. Every inch is cramped, every movement calculated. The crew sleeps in tiny bunk beds stacked on top of each other. Some sailors even share beds because space is so limited. The air is recycled. The temperature constantly shifts. And one mistake could flood entire sections within seconds. Now imagine doing all of that while carrying nuclear weapons. The psychological pressure alone is enough to break people. But submarine crews are trained to operate under extreme stress. Because deep underwater, there is no backup, no rescue. If something goes wrong, you are completely alone. And then there are the weapons. Modern attack submarines carry torpedoes capable of ripping warships apart from below, cruise missiles that can strike targets hundreds of miles away, and ballistic missiles powerful enough to trigger nuclear war. One submarine alone can carry enough destructive power to wipe out entire cities. That's why nuclear submarines form one of the most important parts of global deterrence. Because even if a country is attacked, its hidden submarines can still retaliate. This is called second strike capability, and it's one of the reasons global superpowers are terrified of submarine warfare. Because once these vessels vanish into the ocean, nobody truly knows where they are. During the Cold War, submarine warfare became one of the most dangerous games ever played. American and Soviet submarines hunted each other silently across the Atlantic. Sometimes they got so close that crews could hear enemy propellers through the hull. One wrong move could have triggered nuclear disaster. And even today, that underwater cat and mouse game never stopped. Modern submarines constantly track each other, shadow each other, and test enemy defenses. Most of these missions remain completely classified, meaning the public only sees a tiny fraction of what really happens beneath the ocean. And honestly, that's probably for the best, because the real capabilities of these machines are terrifying. Aircraft carriers may look unstoppable, massive floating cities, protected by destroyers, jets, missile systems, but submarines were specifically designed to kill them. One torpedo, one successful strike, that's all it takes. Which is why carrier strike groups spend enormous resources trying to detect underwater threats. They deploy anti-submarine helicopters, surveillance aircraft, destroyers with advanced sonar systems. Because if a hostile submarine slips through the defenses, the consequences could be catastrophic. And that's what makes submarines so dangerous. Not visibility, not intimidation, uncertainty, the fear that something invisible is already watching you. Now the next generation is arriving. AI-assisted targeting, autonomous underwater drones, hypersonic missile systems. Some military analysts believe future submarines may become almost impossible to detect. Others warn underwater drones could soon patrol oceans completely unmanned. Imagine fleets of robotic submarines operating silently across the globe. No crew, no fatigue, no hesitation. That future may be closer than most people realize. And nations are already racing to dominate it. Because whoever controls the oceans controls global power. But the most dangerous part of submarine warfare isn't technology. It's silence. A silent submarine creates uncertainty, panic, paranoia. And in military strategy, uncertainty changes everything. Because when nations don't know where enemy submarines are, they must assume the worst. That fear alone can influence diplomacy, military movements, even global politics, which means submarines don't just fight wars. Sometimes their existence prevents them. A hidden nuclear submarine somewhere beneath the ocean may be one of the reasons global powers avoid direct conflict. Because everyone knows what could happen if those submarines are ever unleashed. Right now, while millions of people sleep peacefully above the surface, there are submarines moving silently through the darkness below. Undetected, unknown, potentially armed with weapons powerful enough to reshape the planet. And that's what makes submarine warfare so terrifying. Not what we can see, but what we can't. Because somewhere in the ocean tonight, a silent predator is waiting. And the world may never know exactly where it is. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into military technology, naval warfare, and the terrifying machines shaping the future of global conflict. And tell us in the comments, which military machine do you think is the most terrifying ever built? Because the next story may be even more dangerous.